I felt like the DNA in my body got rearranged. Talk about transformational. Like I still have the notepad. I took a yellow legal pad with me and a pen, and I still to this day have it. And when I read the notes, I can actually feel the energy imbued in those notes, the energy of Mary and the room we were in and that experience in my life. And I mean, within the first 10 minutes of her talking, no joke, I have like 3 pages of yellow pad, and I'm transcribing literally every word she says, and just feeling like everything in my life finally made sense. Well, welcome back to The Abundant Coach. Lauren Brollier Newton here, your host, your guide. Super, super thrilled for today's episode because I am going to talk about the first truly transformational workshop that I ever attended. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you why I'm saying truly transformational. And then first steps to creating your own as a coach, because I still believe that transformational workshops, whether they're in person, when I say workshop, like be broad with me on this. It could be a podcast episode even, but something where you are speaking to the true transformation that someone can experience. So we're going to talk all about that. My very first experience with one, how you can create your own. So let's start as we always do here on the episodes where it's just me talking to you. And we're going to start with a quote. And this quote is from Mary Morrissey, founder of Brave Thinking Institute herself. This is from her book, Brave Thinking. She said, "We become so careful, so fearful of mistakes that we remain on a short leash, never venturing into a realm wherein our greatest life resides. This is a very draining, diminishing, frightening version of life." I love that quote. Such a good warning and reminder for all of us that you can live life carefully and fearfully, but you're going to keep yourself on a short leash. And eventually you're going to say, this is draining. This is more fear producing than if I just did the thing I wanted to do. So I'm framing it up with this particular quote because I want to frame up just where I was briefly before I attended my first workshop. I've talked a lot on episodes about, going through a divorce, husband living a double life, living in my parents' downstairs basement, blah, blah, blah. Like you've heard that on many episodes before. If this is your first time listening, I'm not going to go in depth about that story now. I'll just say I'm going to tell you a little bit deeper than just what was going on in my marriage, moving into my parents' basement. I had a small business on the side of my career as a teacher because I was in the deep, deep, dark recesses of my mind, feeling like teaching wasn't going to be the thing for me forever and trying to find a way out of there. But also because I had a lot of debt, a ton, what to me felt like an insurmountable amount of debt. Between student loans and credit cards, I probably had $70,000. And as a school teacher making like 50, and that's before taxes, it just seemed like with my like daily life and everything, it's going to take forever. So 2 motivations. 1, wanting to get out of debt. 2, wanting to perhaps someday get out of my teaching career. And with that said, those weren't my only motivations. Those were big motivations, but also I wanted to do it in a way that was about something that I was passionate about. And so I got into essential oils and aromatherapy, that part by accident. The reason I chose that was because I had already been super, super into oils and stuff for years and years and years before I ever started to try to make money doing it. So I did choose something that I was passionate about, that had helped me in my life, that I thought could help other people. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm just doing this to make money. There was a, let's do it in a company and in a type of area that I felt passionate about. So I had this side business. I liked and was passionate about the products. I had motivations of my own. So the question is, why didn't it work? Why didn't it work to the extent that I was dreaming of it working? And I did have some success with it. And I did recruit some great people to work with me. And I'm not saying I had zero success. I don't want anybody to feel that way. But I just got stuck at a certain level where I was making $400 a month best, and I could not break past that. And I stayed stagnant there for a while. And I believe it comes back to Mary's quote that we become careful, we become fearful of mistakes, and we don't actually fully venture into a realm where we have the potential to live our greatest life. And then she goes on to say, it's draining, it's diminishing, it's a frightening version of life. So when I look back, knowing what I know now, I could see that I wasn't playing full out. Like I could see that there were things that held me back, fears about money, fears about this, that didn't actually have me putting my full self into that business. And I think if knowing what I know now, I put my full self into that business, oh my gosh, the sky would be the complete limit. But that's not where I was then. And here's the thing. I had been to personal development things. I had read Think and Grow Rich. I had read some of the books that are on my bookshelf now that I actually get. I had an understanding, like a very, very basic level understanding of personal development, but I didn't get the part that Mary's talking about here. And I think the difference between a personal development speech talk program and a truly transformational workshop is just that knowledge is one thing, but if you don't have a way to use it to transform your life, or it doesn't sit like that, then it's not going to do very much. So I had heard many keynote speakers. I had heard John Maxwell twice. Very inspiring, learned a lot of great tips from him. I had seen Wayne Dyer speak in person. I had seen Brendan Burchard speak on a stage. And I had seen Mel Robbins speak live on stage because I was part of this network marketing company that brought in these great speakers. The reason I don't believe they were transformational for me is because I wasn't willing. It's nothing about the speakers, all amazing speakers who have helped transform many people's lives. I was never ready to take the next step in my transformation. Meaning, I heard a keynote speech. They're not there to give a full on workshop. I was never willing to invest more with John Maxwell or invest more with Brendan Burchard or invest more with Mel Robbins. And I was fearful of that, even though it called to me. So I didn't have the transformation. I didn't immerse myself in a deeper level of study. And I'm not talking about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars with someone. I'm just talking about buy a $39 workshop, nothing. Like I just was so fearful about all things money and this that I couldn't fully immerse myself in it. Then the whole thing occurs of, my husband leaves, all this is happening. I'm living in my parents' basement, and a friend of mine invites me to go to this event called DreamBuilder Live. And I go to DreamBuilder Live. It's a 3-day event. So now here we talk about transformational. Now I'm immersing myself in it. Now I've got to put something on the line because I had to take time off work, which I wasn't necessarily thrilled about. And it was it was a professional development day at the school district I taught in, which I would normally be teaching in. And I remember my union president saying, you can do whatever you want, but it probably is looked down upon. At that point, I didn't give two Fs about, the district's going to be mad at me. I was like, I'm so done teaching school, and for several different reasons, which I won't get into, but just my life was changing, right? So I had to miss a professional development day, which I would normally be teaching at, call in sick, do whatever, or take time off. I don't think I called in sick. I think I just took time off, had to get myself to Los Angeles, California from where I lived in San Francisco, had to pay for a hotel room. So I'm putting myself in a transformational experience. And this 3-day event called DreamBuilder Live was hosted by Mary Morrissey and the Brave Thinking Institute. I felt super nervous walking into that event. I think because I think our spirit, our intuition, the part of us that knows all things, that's connected to the infinite, I think it knew that I was about to just have my life transformed. And so, your spideys are up because you're sensing something's going to happen, something wonderful, but also something's going to happen. So that. And then I was scared because when I walked in, everybody seemed way too happy. I'm like, are people really this positive? This cannot be an actual thing. Because they're like, the first thing that happened at DreamBuilder Live was they come out on stage and they're like, all right, let's pump it up, let's dance. And I'm like, I am not a pump it up kind of person. Like I wear black and listen to grunge. Like that is not going to be for me. I'm there though, because I know that if anybody needs a life they love, which is one thing that they talk about a lot at DreamBuilder Live, if somebody needs a dream, it's me. I think the reason that this particular workshop changed my life is because one, it's immersive. You're there all day long for 3 days straight talking about transformational material, not just personal development, not just professional development, but a spiritual level transformational experience, which really resonated with me. That doesn't mean that the skeptic in me wasn't there when I was sitting in those chairs for the first time. They read Mary's bio. I had never heard of Mary Morrissey, but they read her bio and they talked about her being selected by the Dalai Lama to lead really important meetings on world peace, and creating the program A Season for Nonviolence with Martin Luther King's children, and writing her books and having her PBS specials. So at that point, I'm like, okay, the skepticism is going down because I can see she has some sort of a pedigree, and she's not just, going to pump it up the whole weekend and do this dance or whatever it is. So the skeptic in me was like, all right, I can hang with some of this. Then Mary came on stage. And the only way that I can describe it is that I felt like the DNA in my body got rearranged. Talk about transformational. Like I still have the notepad. I took a yellow legal pad with me and a pen, and I still to this day have it. And when I read the notes, I can actually feel the energy imbued in those notes, the energy of Mary and the room we were in, and that experience in my life. And I mean, within the first 10 minutes of her talking, no joke, I have like 3 pages of yellow pad, and I'm transcribing literally every word she says, and just feeling like everything in my life finally made sense because of the way in which she described it. I'm saying, I had heard personal development from a lot of different voices. I had heard the deep universal spirituality of Wayne Dyer. I had heard the practical and funny life coaching advice of Mel Robbins. I'd heard the business advice of Brendan Burchard. I'd heard the leadership advice of John Maxwell. But I had never heard before, with all those wonderful speakers, I hadn't yet heard what actually spiritually is going on when we're living a life that we're fully in love with, and when we're living a life that we want an escape from. I had never heard it stated so clearly with those kind of tools, with such permission that it is a spiritual thing, this life you're living, whatever name you give to that, God, spirit, life, waves and particles, science, whatever it is, whatever the system is, that there was this codification that Mary brought. And by the first day, where she takes us through what she would call a breaking ground and blueprinting process, where we just allow for ourselves for a moment to take a look at what's been going on for us, and then really invites us into a next level vision for our future. And there was something about the way that it was all brought together that I actually felt like I could do this. So think back to everything I've been through, right? $70,000 in debt, the husband, the living in the parents' basement. And somehow, whatever dream came to my mind that day, I had imbued in me through Mary's teaching this idea that I could have it, that it would be okay. And I was so grateful for that. I was pumped up. I was so thrilled by the end of day 1 that I would still get 2 more days of this transformation. By day 2, I was really seeing that I was not meant to be teaching school. As noble a profession as it is, I could just see that that wasn't my life's path. I kind of knew that from the beginning, but I really felt permission to let that be okay, and to not be afraid of like, well, what are you going to do if not? Because on day 2, Mary teaches you about all the things that keep our brain and our nervous system really in a gridlock over change, and then takes us through this amazing process about understanding how to break through those patterns. And I can see, all these thoughts that I've been thinking about why I can't do the thing it is I really want to do, which is have a career outside of teaching and fall in love again and all of these things, is that I'm not alone. Everybody's feeling that way. And there's a scientific reason why that happens in our brain, and we can overcome it. And it was that night where they had an info session on the life coach certification that I went to get more info and really got lit up about being a life coach. As crazy as that sounded for someone living in their parents' basement. And then on day 3, Mary takes you through a process, Mary and the faculty, where you actually get to, and this is the part that I always felt was like such a huge missing link, is that I actually never knew that there was a process or a system for having a dream that's way the hell out there. I mean, to me, I'm a teacher. I'm living in my parents' basement. I'm making $50,000 a year. I'm struggling in my business. And my dream was like generating millions of dollars and being a best-selling author and being on big stages and like changing the world and falling in love and having a love for the record books. And somehow with this Sunday process that she took us through, I was like, oh, I could do that, because she and the faculty took us through a process of how to actually know what steps to take. And I was just so blown away. Like, if this is happening in 3 days, like, what would it be like if I worked further with this institute and further developed myself? And then eventually the next day, I realized, oh my God, I missed out. Like, I'm supposed to become a coach. I'm supposed to continue studying this. And I panicked and ran around the hotel looking for someone on Mary's team to sign me up, and no one was there. So I eventually got on the phone with the institute and signed up for my coach certification, and then have continued to this day to stay in a structure of support with the mentorship and the coaching that happens at Brave Thinking Institute. But it was wild to me, so wild to me, that you could have this fantastical, cuckoo loco kind of dream and have a process to actually see it step by step come to life. It was like freaking blew my mind. So that was DreamBuilder Live. When I got into coach certification, those of you who are thinking about doing your certification with us, we teach our coaches how to host their own transformational workshop. And actually, Mary Morrissey and the faculty give our certified coaches who are getting trained in the business the exact workshop that Mary used when she would have a day-long workshop where she would enroll clients. They gave us the same exact workshop she used, same script and everything, to generate her first couple $1 million. They give that to all the coaches. And so I received what is called the Vision Workshop. So if you see people out in the world giving something called the Vision Workshop, it's a likely sign that they came from Brave Thinking Institute. So the Vision Workshop. So I started to give this transformational workshop. And the reason I was so like pumped up about giving the workshop is it wasn't like, yes, I did have dreams of being a speaker and all of that, but the workshop for me was more about, once I was at DreamBuilder Live and I saw this process and I saw it before my own eyes, and 30 years of me feeling like I was always screwing up and not knowing where I was going and wanting something and not knowing how to get it, like, it all came into place at DreamBuilder Live. So once I saw that the Vision Workshop was sort of like a mini DreamBuilder Live, I was like, I want everybody to have this. I want everybody on the planet to know this kind of work, because there'd be so much less stress, struggle, and suffering if people had this kind of material. And so I went out and I taught the Vision Workshop all the time and enrolled my first clients that way, and have enrolled clients that way ever since. But let me tell you, if you are unsure of getting certified with us, or maybe you're already certified and you're just listening to this podcast for business tips, or whatever the reason is, I want to give you some steps to create your own transformational workshop. Because if you see the impact DreamBuilder Live had on my life, and you see the impact that the Vision Workshop had on people's lives, I mean, I literally helped to transform. I can't do it myself. They have to co-create with me, but helped to transform thousands of people's lives with the Vision Workshop. And so I want to give you some ideas of, if you're listening to this and going, yes, I do want people to have that total transformation, let me help you to know how you would create a workshop such as that, that can help you to help your potential clients or your clients transform their lives. So a truly transformational workshop has to have some sort of a spiritual component to it. And when I say spiritual, I don't necessarily mean religious. I don't necessarily even mean a certain type of spiritual, like a woo-woo, or like, no. It's when I say spiritual element, it's like, okay, I understand that I'm a physical body, but anybody living in a physical body can see that they are more than that. Because it's like, as Mary would say, who is it in me that can see my body and know I'm more than that, that can feel my feelings and know I'm more than that? Who is that in me? So when I say spiritual, that's what I'm speaking to, that your attendees actually feel a connection, a spark, to the fact that there is at the very least some sort of a system, put whatever name you want on it, that's bigger than we are, that we don't always have words for, but that part of us feels expansive. And I believe minus that, if you're just doing goal setting, if you're just doing professional development, it's always going to fall short, because it's not acknowledging who we really are. And who we really are is a being that is so much more than our goals, our job, our body, or any of that crap, material stuff. It's more than that. So much of brave thinking is based on what the transcendentalists did. Emerson and Thoreau and the Margaret Fuller, the transcendentalists who believe that there's actually a part of you that transcends all human struggle, suffering, circumstance. So I believe that element, which I will call spiritual for lack of a better word, that spiritual element is crucial to a transformational workshop. Now, you can make it however you want to make it that aligns with you, your beliefs, and your audience. And yet, that element is so important. And that's really what made Mary and DreamBuilder Live stand out and what makes our vision workshop stand out. The other thing is to not shy away with the audience on what's not working in their life. Because actually, what you learn at DreamBuilder Live and what we teach in our vision workshops is that the very things that are dissatisfying to you are the signs and signals for what needs to be transformed. What would be in your ultimate life vision is going to actually have something to do with the dissatisfaction you're feeling right now. So, not thinking that to be a positive or transformational workshops, that you somehow have to shy away from what it is that's bugging them in current life the way that it is right now. The other thing is that you got to give the participant permission to think beyond whatever it is that they've believed about themselves up until now and about the world. Because if you have a real estate agent coming to a transformational workshop, so to speak, I'm using that because I worked with a ton of real estate agents in my own business. I had no experience in real estate, but somehow I tended to attract a lot of real estate agent clients. And if I went into a real estate workshop, if I had a bunch of real estate agents in my office, in my workshop or perhaps in my office, and I was only speaking to what's possible right now because of the market, one, I'm not different than anybody else, but two, like, who in the heck wants to hear what they already know isn't working because the whole world's talking about it? So when you have a transformational workshop, you have the opportunity to be different and to say, all right, I see that that's going on in the market. And I also know that I am a powerful spiritual being, and so are you. And people who change the world are crazy enough to not care what the market's doing. So let's go build something better. That kind of a spirit makes a workshop transformational. Transformation breaks down to going beyond the current form. That's what the word means. So if a workshop is going to be truly transformational, it has to take you beyond who you are right now, mind, body, and spirit, or else it's not really that transformational. It's informative. It can be inspiring. It can be motivating, but it won't be transformational. So that would be my recommendation in terms of some of the elements you want to include in a transformational workshop. I look back to that version of myself in January of 2018 at my first DreamBuilder Live. And I can almost remember in some ways every moment of that workshop. I remember what I wore. I remember the hotel room I was in because it was such a breakthrough moment in my life, and I'm forever grateful for it. The great news about DreamBuilder Live is it happens to be a workshop that Mary didn't just do that one time. So I've had the privilege of going back to DreamBuilder Live for, what is it going to be, 7 years now. It was 7 years in January, in fact, since my first DreamBuilder Live. And to continue the transformation, because the thing about truly transformative material, it's the reason why Bob Proctor read the book Think and Grow Rich every day until a few days before he passed, is that truly transformational material gives you more of itself as you grow. The words on the page, the words on the stage are going to seem completely different as you grow and evolve. So when I attend DreamBuilder Live now, it is just as potent, but different because I'm in a completely different stage of life now. And so I still want to take myself through those 3 days with Mary and the faculty to continue to evolve and grow. I want to invite you, this audience, who I know you love this stuff. You love this material. And if you resonate with what you've heard on the podcast, then DreamBuilder Live is like the podcast on steroids, and you will love it. And so we have the opportunity for you to come to DreamBuilder Live very, 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 very shortly. It's going to happen on May 2nd through 4th, 2025. May 2nd through 4th, 2025. And here's the link, bti.com/transform. bti.com/transform. And this is going to be, I believe, such a turning point in your life. Now, let me give you some advice about attending DreamBuilder Live. It's not going to do it to you. It's going to happen with you and through you, because when I went to my first DreamBuilder Live, my heart was open. I was skeptical. I'm not saying I wasn't skeptical, but there was a part of my heart that said, I require change. I want a better life for myself. I'm willing to go into this and listen. So if you have even a corner of your mind open, that is the way to attend DreamBuilder Live. There's a part of you that can be skeptical, but there's this other part. If you want change, if you want to feel that transformation, if you want to feel that rearranging of your DNA, you can feel it as long as you're willing to co-create it. because I had to have a corner of my mind at least open in order to experience the transformation that I experienced. So bti.com/transform. I want to see you there. It's such a powerful event. It'll be my, oh my gosh, I think this will be my 20th DreamBuilder Live. And I've gone to 20 for a reason, because I want to keep growing and I want you to too. Thank you for being with me today. I love you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at DreamBuilder Live. See you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss a new upload. You can help our channel continue to grow as we invest in creating more great content for coaches. Lastly, check the description below for helpful links to the resources mentioned in this video. Thank you and have an amazing day.